Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. I'm very impressed that you are still exercising when I'm not there watching what you're doing. So just while we're thinking about me not watching what you're doing, I really want you to just make sure that you're keeping yourself safe. So any exercises that you know are not appropriate for your body for any reason, anything that I don't normally let you do in class, if I'm asking you to bend in a way that you know is not appropriate, then I want you to stop. Obviously don't do that exercise. You can have a stretch, you can do something that is more appropriate for you, and just wait and we'll quickly move on to the next exercise. Okay, so I haven't really planned a workout today. I feel like everybody is kind of stressed. We've got a lot going on at the moment, so I just thought, you know what, let's just move, let's just let it flow and let's go from there. And let's lie down on the mat. So have a lie down. Let's have knees bent, feet flat on the floor and arms just down by your sides. Allow the back of your pelvis to be heavy, sinking down into the mat. Back of your ribs are heavy. Just take some deep breaths here. So I've turned my hands over. I quite like palms up towards the ceiling, which allows your chest and shoulders to roll open. Just take some deep breaths here. So big breath in, get as much air in as you can on your inhale. And then fully exhale. Again, really deep breath in, getting as much air in as you can. See if you can really feel your rib cage expand as you inhale. And then fully exhale, getting rid of all of the air. Sometimes I quite like to have my hands on the rib cage so that I can feel the expansion of the rib cage. Let's go again, really big breath. And fully exhaling. So keep going like that. It's really important, especially at the moment, that we keep ourselves really healthy. So the more deep breathing that we can do really does help the lungs, helps to keep everything nice and healthy. Also, taking deep breaths, it calms the nervous system. Because we are so stressed, everybody's kind of in that fight or flight mode the whole time. Just pausing to lie down and take some deep breaths. Just allows your body to relax. Let's do one more big breath. And fully exhale. Take a stretch now. Reach your legs out long. Reach your arms out overhead and stretch. Make yourself as long as you can. Circle your arms out to the sides. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Give your knees a little hug. And you can rock gently side to side if you wish. One hand on the top of each knee now, and you're going to open the knees out and circle your knees around. Get as much movement as you can. Let's reverse that and go the other way. Good, and then pausing in the centre, bringing your knees back down onto the mat. Take your feet wide now, so to the outside edges of your mat, arms are down by your sides again. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, allow both knees to roll to one side. As you inhale, let your legs come back through centre and exhale over to the other side. Keep moving on the speed of your breath, so inhale into centre and exhaling to take it over. One more to each side. Good, allow your legs to come back into centre. Bring the soles of your feet together, let your knees roll out to the sides to come into your cobbler stretch now. Opening out the hips, stretching out the thighs. Now take your arms up towards the ceiling now and interlace your fingers. Turn your hands over and pressing the palms up towards the ceiling. Stretch.
keeping your shoulder blades anchored into your mat and keeping your ribs down. You're going to start to take your hands behind you towards that wall behind you. Don't let the ribs lift. Ribs want to stay down. Stretching into the hands, stretching into the arms, stretching into your shoulders. And again, we're still taking those deep breaths. Bringing your hands back up towards the ceiling now, and bring your fingers apart. Give your fingers a wriggle, so opening out the hands, get as much space between the fingers as you can. Circle your wrists around and reverse and go the other way. And then gently pulling each finger in turn back to stretch out your fingers. Give them a wriggle and just allow your hands to come back down. A few more breaths here. Okay, so we are going to do a little bit of rotation work now. We're going to do our crocodile arms. If you know that you should not be twisting through your spine, then you can stay here. I would suggest you bring your knees back together and do your floor angels. Okay. And if you don't have any issues with your spine and you know that you can twist, we're going to do crocodile arms. Down to crocodile arms, we're going to have this bottom arm out in front, top arm's going to come on top. Head is just resting down. So this is a really nice stretch for the neck, having your head down on the floor. However, if it's uncomfortable for you, feel free to pop something under your head, grab a cushion. Okay, knees are bent, feet together. We're going to inhale, open up that top arm. You're going to reach your arm towards the ceiling. Let your head turn with the hand. And open out as far as you can. Keep your knees down. Don't let your knees lift off the floor. And then when you've gone as far as you can, we're going to pause here and we're going to take some deep breaths again. Good, and then when you're ready, we're going to start to bring that arm back up and over. Closing the crocodile's mouth. And do that again. Inhale, up and out. Exhale, allow your arm to come down towards the floor. Taking some deep breaths here. Trying to be as relaxed as possible, so I don't want you straining. When you're ready, start to slowly bring that arm back up, really reaching that arm away from you. Imagine you can scrape the ceiling with your fingernails as your arm comes up and over. One more time on this side. And when you're ready, arm comes all the way back. I'm going to roll over onto the other side, do the same on the other side. So I'm going to turn over and face away from you for this one. So again, knees are bent, feet are flat, feet together, arms are reaching out in front. As you inhale, open that top arm, reaching the arm towards the ceiling, knees stay down on the floor, open that arm out. And then just pausing and taking some deep breaths here. When you're ready, start to slowly bring that arm back up and all the way over, closing the crocodile's mouth. We're going to go again. Inhale, reach. Allow the arm to come over, keep reaching the arm as far away from you as you can. Again, relaxing here. A couple of deep breaths. Start to bring that arm back up and over. One last time here. Good. And arm comes back up and all the way over. Good. Roll yourself back onto your back now. Bring your knees in towards your chest and just rock yourself gently from side to side. Good. I'm going to roll onto our side again now. So I'm going to do the climb exercise. Okay, so bottom arm can either be bent, resting your head on your hand, or you can have that arm out long and rest your head. Find a position that feels comfortable for you, and as always, you can always have a cushion or something under your head if you need to. And then knees are bent, feet together. Keeping your feet together, you're going to open out that top knee and then close it down. So trying to keep space through the waist. Think about sending that leg away from you so that you're not collapsing into your waist. Then your other hand can just rest on the mat in front of you. Two more. Good, and then bottom leg stays bent. Reach that top leg away from you. Make that leg as long as you can, and then lift and lower here. Good. And then we're going to take it into circles, so hip height, and circle that leg around. Keep reaching. Last two. Last one, and reverse. Keep reaching. Good, and then bend that knee, taking your foot behind. Reach that top hand, and can you grab your foot to stretch out the front of the thigh? This is just a stretch, so if you can't quite reach your foot, don't worry about it. You can just rest here for a moment. Good. And then allow that leg to come down. Flip onto your other side. Let's do the same on the other side. Again, knees are bent, feet are flat on the floor. Checking I've got enough space. Okay, so again, make sure you're lengthening through the waist. Other hand can rest down on the mat, and we're doing the clam. Open and close. Don't let your pelvis roll back. Try and keep both hip bones pointing forwards the whole time. Two more. Good, and then reach that top leg away from you, bottom leg stays bent. Make that leg as long as you can, and then lift and lower here. Keep reaching. Last two. Last one. Hip height for circles. Keep reaching. Make that leg as long as you can. Space through the waist. And reverse. And bend that leg behind. Grab your ankle with the top hand and stretch. And again, if you can't quite reach it on this side, don't worry too much. It is just a stretch. And then release. Okay, coming up to seated. Let's do some shoulder stretches. So feel free, if you're not comfortable to sit for any length of time, to grab a cushion or anything that you've got just to lift you up a little bit higher, and feel free to keep switching positions. Don't feel that you have to stay in the same position the whole time. So let's do some shoulder work. I'm going to take one hand out in front. Imagine that you're holding a cup of water and you're tipping that water out. So we're in that external rotation. Arm comes out to the side. Think about traction in your elbow away from your shoulder so that we're getting a stretch through this arm. Make sure the rib cage stays down, shoulders stay down. Good, and then bring that arm in. Same on the other side. Arm reaches out.
Tip your cup of water out, external rotation, take the arm out to the side. So we're keeping that little soft bend through the elbow, and we're thinking about pulling the elbow away from the shoulder, creating a stretch through the front of the chest and the shoulder. Shoulders down, ribs down. Couple of breaths here. That's good. Good, okay, and then bring that arm back in. If you sat cross-legged like me, just switch your legs over so you sat the other way, or feel free to shuffle position. Exactly the same again. When I reach that first arm out, we're going to turn, tip that cup of water out and take your arm out to the side, keeping a soft elbow and traction in the elbow away from the shoulder. Shoulders down, ribs down. And now we're going to take our head the opposite way. So we're feeling a stretch through the chest and through the neck here. Couple of breaths here. Maybe moving your head around a little bit and trying to find any areas of tension. Find where the stretch is needed. And then bring your head back up, bring your arm back in. Let's go to the other side. Arm reaches out in front. Tip your water out. Take your arm out to the side, keeping a soft elbow. Traction the elbow away. Ribs down, shoulders down, reach. And again here, head is just going to tilt towards the opposite shoulder. Take some deep breaths. Maybe you want to move your head around a little bit. I'm sorry if you can hear that banging. My next door neighbour's having some work done on their balcony at the back. Okay, head comes in, arm comes in. Give your shoulders a little circle. And the other way. So we're going to do both arms together this time. So both arms reach out. Tip your water out, external rotation and arms out to the side. Again, soft elbow, traction in the arms away. Now this time you're going to nod your chin towards your chest. Think about lengthening the back of your neck, allowing the weight of your head and gravity to stretch out the back of your neck. Shoulders down, ribs down. And then when you're ready, you're going to slowly bring your head back up and release your arms. Okay, take one hand behind your back now, and you want to have this upper arm as vertical as possible. So you're trying not to have it out at that angle. It wants to be pulled in really tight, and my hand is just across my back here. Roll shoulders and collarbones open. Again, feeling a bit of a stretch through the chest. When you're ready, we're going to release that arm, give it a little shake out, shoulders a little roll, and do the same on the other side. Feel free to change your seating position whenever you need to. Hand comes back. Again, we don't want the elbow out to the side, we want that elbow as vertical as possible. Check the ribs, check the shoulders, take some deep breaths. And release. Again, a little circle. Going back to the first side, exactly the same. Trying to get vertical upper arm, arm comes across your back. This time, just to make the stretch a little bit more, if you can, you're going to start to sneak this lower arm up the length of your spine. So I'll turn around so you can see what that looks like. So we were here before, and now we're going to start to sneak that arm up your spine. Elbow stays tucked in by your side, chest and shoulders remain open, and we're here. Oh, it feels good. Check in with your ribs. This is where you'll start to want to lift the ribs a lot. Speaking from experience, obviously. going to release that arm. Oh, that's a good one. And do the same on the other side. And the hand goes behind. Again, roll shoulders, collarbones open, ribs stay down. And start to sneak that lower arm up your back again. You're always just looking for that boundary. So you don't want to go to where it's so painful that you can't breathe and you can't speak normally. But you want to feel like there's a little bit of something going on. So, you know, kind of if you're hanging out here and there's nothing really doing, you're not feeling anything here, then start to progress it a little bit and start to walk that hand up your spine. Again, keep a check on the ribs. So good. So good. All right. Okay. Okay, let's progress it a little bit more then. I've switched my legs again. Same hand, first side even. Hand behind your back. Sneak the hand up your spine, like we did with the last one. And then this time, can you flip your hand over so that the palm of your hand is now against your back? And I mean, maybe that's a bit much, you know, maybe that's too far for you and you're just happy trying to sneak your hand up your spine. You always do what feels right for you. Watching for the shoulders rounding forwards and the chest collapsing, trying to stay upright and not rib thrust. So just finding the boundary, so finding that point where you can feel something's happening, but you can still breathe and you can still speak. All right, that's enough. Oh. Whew. Last side, hand goes behind. Sneak your hand up your spine, and then can you flip your hand over? Oh, I feel like I'm better on this side today. All right. Take some deep breaths there. So good. All right. Oh. Release when you're ready and just give your shoulders a little circle. Turn your head side to side. Okay, so now shoulders are relaxing down, ribs are relaxing down. We're going to take our ear down towards our shoulder. So we're stretching out the side of the neck, front of the chest here. Take some deep breaths. All about the breathing today. Slowly bring your head up through centre and take it over to the other side. Keep the shoulders down. Notice any difference from one side to the other. Going to go back to the first side again. Head comes up through centre and over to the other side. I'm going to stay here. Lift your opposite shoulder up towards your ear and then pulling that shoulder down again. You're trying to increase the traction. You're trying to create more of a stretch. Shoulder lifts and then pulls down. One more time. Shoulder lifts and pulls down. Bring your head up through centre and take it over to the other side. And again, shoulder lifts and pulls down. Shoulder lifts and pulls down. One more time. And pulls down. Bring your head back up through centre and give your shoulders a little circle. And the other way. Okay, go back to our first arm that we keep working with. So hand is going to come out in front. Okay, we're going to reach that arm forward. So we want to feel the stretch, but we're not twisting our body. So our body stays straight and the arm reaches. Going to start to bring the arm across your body, and again making sure that you aren't twisting. It's the arm coming across. Shoulders stay down away from your ears. Once that arm has gone as far as you can, you're going to use your other arm to scoop up that arm and pull it in towards you. So because I've been reaching that arm so much, I'm feeling a real big stretch now across my upper back, so through the shoulder blades. Shoulders stay down away from ears. You don't want to be here. Ribs down, deep breaths. Okay, so the arm that's come across your body, you're going to release that arm now. And you're going to take it up towards the ceiling this time. You're going to bend that arm behind you and try and drop your thumb towards the base of your neck. Use your other arm then to support your tricep. Press that arm away and stretch. Still want your shoulders down away from your ears, so watch for the shoulders sneaking up. And then you're going to release the arm and let your shoulders come down. And here she comes. Hello, Doodle. You're going to have to turn around so people can still see. And sit down. This is my old girl. She's 12. So she isn't going to be doing very much working out, but she might come and have a snooze while we're here. Good girl. And do the same on the other side now. So you're going to reach that arm out in front, really reaching that arm, making sure that your shoulders stay square. And you're going to start to bring your arm across your body. Once it's gone as far as it can, you're going to use your other arm to scoop that arm up and pull it in towards you. Drop your shoulders down away from your ears. And take some deep breaths. Hi. Okay. Couple of breaths here. She thinks I've gone crazy. She's like, are you talking to me? And then again, that arm that's come across, you're going to reach that arm up towards the ceiling. Bend at the elbow, try and drop your thumb to the base of your neck again. And use the other arm just to give you more of a stretch. Watch for ribs lifting. Good. And then release the arm. Give your shoulders a little circle. I'm going to come onto all fours now for some rhomboid push-ups. So fingers are spread wide. You want your hands under your shoulders and your knees under your hips. Okay, and then you can either have toes tucked or tops of the feet flat on the floor, whichever works for you. We're going to have thumbs pointing towards each other. Are you doing this too? No. Okay, so from here, you're going to allow your shoulder blades to come together and then shoulder blades to spread wide. Shoulder blades together and shoulder blades spread wide. Keep working through your upper back. So this time, let's pay attention to where those elbow pits are and roll your elbow pits forwards. Same thing here. Shoulder blades together and shoulder blades wide. And then just coming off your wrists for a moment, just give your wrists a little circle around. Okay, going to go back onto all fours again now. So fingers spread wide, thumbs are pointing towards each other. Elbow pits are forwards. We're going to take it into that forearm push-up from here. So keeping your bottom where it is, so you're trying not to let your bottom go back towards your heels. You're going to bend the elbows and then press. Okay. Bend the elbows and press. Trying to make sure the elbow pits stay pointing forwards. And try not to take your bottom back towards your heels. Okay. And then coming off your hands again, give your wrists a little twirl around. Pulling your fingers back, all the fingers together. Same on the other side, pull the fingers all back together. And then give your fingers a little wriggle again there. If you've been told by me that you've not to go into rounding the forwards of the spine, then with this you're just going to go in from a neutral spine to a little bit of extension, okay? If you've not been told that by me, then you're probably fine to do the full exercise. But again, always listen to your body and what feels right for you. So we're coming onto all fours again, fingers are spread wide, thumbs are pointing towards each other. So we're going to come into that cat-cow movement now. So hands and knees again, fingers spread wide, thumbs point towards each other, knees are under hips.
Knees are under hips. From here, you're going to take a breath in, and as you exhale, you're going to tuck your tailbone under. We're trying to roll through the spine. We're trying to get as much movement through the back as we can. So particularly, think about tucking your bottom under and trying to round through your lower back, round through your middle back, round through your shoulders, and your head drops down towards the mat. Your head is always the last thing to move. Take a breath here, and as you exhale, you're going to roll the other way, starting with your bottom. Stick your tailbone out the other way. Roll through the lower back, through the middle back, through the upper back. Think about bringing your chest through your hands, and your head is the last thing to move. Take a breath again. Let's go the other way. Tuck your tailbone under, really working to round that lower back. So look right here at that lower back. See how we go from a neutral spine here, and we're rounding, 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 flattening out the back, and then trying to round and rolling through the spine. And then going back the other way. Keep going with that. What you're looking for here is to try and have a real rounded curve that's like a uniform curve. So we're as rounded at the top as we are at the bottom. So think like a rainbow of the upper back, okay? A lot of people will be really mobile through the upper back and shoulders, but not so much through the lower back. So they can just kind of bang straight into the upper back. So it's all shoulder, and then nothing really going on with the lower back at all. So you're wanting to try and get a much smoother curve through the spine. Sorry about the doodle in the way. Rolling through the back. And then rolling the other way. And it feels really nice. And you can do as many of those as you like.
So if you've been told by me not to go into that rounded spine position, or you know that it just doesn't work for your body and you're not to do that, then you're just going to go into that neutral spine into extension, and that looks a little bit like this. So fingers spread wide, thumbs towards each other, elbow pits forwards, always, always. Take a breath. So I'm in a neutral spine here, and then from here I'm going to stick my bottom out even more, and I'm going to lift my chest like I'm trying to bring my chest through my arms and looking forwards. Take a breath again, and from here I'm going to just soften that curve and just come back to a neutral position. And then again, stick my bottom out even more and lift into extension, and then just coming back into a neutral position. Okay, take yourself back into your child's pose now. So take your bottom back towards your heels. Again, your feet can be in either position, whichever feels good to you. Bottom back towards your heels, reach your arms out in front and stretch. Okay, so we're going to come down onto our forearms now. So palms are facing down. The same distance between your elbows as your wrists. Okay. And then you're going to sink your bottom back towards your heels. And you can let your head rest down on the floor. And just take some deep breath there. So. Have your toes tucked under or flat. Coming up again, you're going to turn your hands over. Try and get all of your fingernails down on the mat. And then again, take your bottom back towards your heels and stretch. Good. Okay, coming down onto your front now. So we're going to take it into a quad stretch, so the front of your thigh stretch. So you're going to bend one leg in, and then you're going to reach your hand behind to grab the ankle. If you can't grab your ankle, get like a dressing gown, belt, or a strap, or a scarf tie, whatever you've got,
and wrap it around your ankle and then use that to pull towards you. So the reason I want you to use your ankle rather than your toes is you're going to get a much better stretch here, because if you're very tight, you can kind of get around that tightness by using the mobility of the ankle. So by holding here, it really keeps the stretch true. It keeps you in really good alignment here. And then allowing your pelvis to rest back down onto the mat. Because again, if you're very tight, what will happen is this hip bone will lift off the mat and your pelvis will twist a little bit to allow you to find that movement. And just take some deep breaths. So you're trying to allow this hip bone to come back down onto the mat. And when you've had enough of that, release. And do the same on the other side. So bending the knee, hand reaches behind, grabs the ankle and pulls the leg in towards you. Notice if your hip bones have lifted. Try and allow your hip bones to relax down into the mat. You can have your head down. And just taking some deep breaths. Okay, and then release.
Okay, so you're going to turn yourself over and lie down on your back now for crescent stretch. So straighten your legs out away from you, take your arms overhead, make yourself as tall or as long as you can. And then you're going to walk your legs to the right. And then walk your arms and your upper body also to the right. So you're in like a crescent shape or a half moon banana shape. Feeling that big stretch down the side of the body that you're leaning away from. If you want to, you can cross your left ankle over your right. And you can also grab your left hand with your right hand, left arm even. Oh, and stretch. So good. So we're in this crescent shape. And we're going to try and keep the back of the ribs anchored into the mat, keep the pelvis level. So you haven't rolled onto your side, you're just still flat on the mat, but just in a side bend position. Let's stay here for a few breaths. I'm going to take it over to the other side now, so walk your legs back into centre. Just bring your arms down to give your shoulders a little rest. And I'm going to do the other side. So, arms up and overhead again. Walk your legs to the left this time. Walk your arms and upper body to the left. Again, you're in that crescent banana shape. And if you want to, you can cross your right ankle over your left and grab your right wrist with your left hand just to give you even more of a stretch all down that right side. So as you inhale, see if you can really inflate that right side of your rib cage, get as much movement as possible there. Really stretching the muscles between the ribs, giving your lungs plenty of room to breathe. When you're ready, slowly bring yourself back into centre. Bring your knees in towards your chest one at a time. Hold on to your knees and just rock gently backwards and forwards. Releasing your legs now one at a time onto the mat. Bring your feet and knees together. Take your arms out to the sides, palms facing up towards the ceiling. Take a breath in. As you exhale, allow your knees to roll to one side. Only go as far over as you can maintain the back of the shoulder blades into the mat. When you're ready, inhale back to centre and exhale, take it over to the other side. Again, keeping the back of the ribs, keeping the shoulder blades anchored into the mat. Inhale, centre, exhale, over. Just moving with the speed of your breath.
Just a couple more times here. Going back to that cobbler stretch that we did earlier on, soles of the feet together, knees roll out to the sides, allowing your hips and inner thighs to stretch. Just take a couple of deep breaths here, checking with the ribs. And then we're going to bring our feet back flat on the mat. Feet and knees are about hip width apart, keeping the back of the pelvis anchored, back of the rib cage anchored. And just take some deep breaths here. Get as much air in as you can with each inhale. And fully exhale. Now feel free to stay here for as long as you want to, taking some deep breaths. If you don't feel comfortable with your knees bent, you can always lengthen your legs out long away from you. Take your legs a little bit wider than and hip width apart, and let your thighs roll out to the sides. And again, just staying here to take some deep breaths. And feel free to stay there for as long as you want. I'm going to come up and out of that. And again, just say thank you so much for joining me for this video. Again, I'm really impressed with you and how well you've been doing, just coming and doing the video on your own. Check out our virtual movement studio that's now going to be online. It's called The Movement Collective. You can find us on Facebook, and there's going to be loads of different exercises and workouts for you to do on there. And I'll send more information with that as soon as I can. Take care, guys. Stay well, and I'll see you soon.